Hey, what's up guys, Gannon here, and today we're going to be making a video about the technology used in Star Trek the original series. Now, I've only just kind of got into Star Trek. I've totally fallen in love with it. At the time of recording this video, I'm about 4 episodes away from being done with the original series. Now, something I should preface, I'm not like a Star Trek super fan. I'm probably going to get some of this stuff wrong, but this is just kind of a general description of the technology used aboard the Starship Enterprise, how it functions, and a little bit of the lore that goes with it. Alright, with that being said, let's get into it.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Alrighty guys, the first thing I of course really need to cover is the USS Enterprise. The USS Enterprise is of course captained by the one and only James T. Kirk. Now, the original design for the Enterprise was actually designed by a guy by the name of Matt Jeffries. Now, the challenge in creating that original design for the Enterprise is that Gene Roddenberry, the original creator of Star Trek, wanted it to be as unconventional as possible. He wanted something that nobody had ever seen before, but he also wanted it to look extremely futuristic. He often told Matt to visualize a spaceship, a starship, that could be used 4 to 5 to like maybe even 10 generations into the future. It had to look like nothing else ever seen before. They went through a lot of different designs and sketches for the original Enterprise, but after one was eventually picked out, the original model for the Starship Enterprise, the one that would be shown in the show, was created by Desilu Studio in December of 1964, and it was a 0.8 meter model made mostly of pine, plexiglass, and brass detailing. At the time that they made this, the model cost about $600 after it was done. The USS Enterprise goes under the model number NCC 1701, NC being an actual aircraft registration for the United States. The second C in NCC is there because Soviet ships actually used to use Cs, and Matt Jeffries believed that if we were ever to do interstellar travel, that it would be a joint venture between the two superpowers who were in a space race at the time, Russia and the United States. This is kind of consistent when you think about the addition of Ensign Chekhov into the series. The Enterprise was a Constitution-class vessel, of which there were only 12 in the fleet at the time of the original series. The original series was based on the year 2267. Being a constant at the start means it's the largest and most advanced cruiser and starship in the entire fleet. It's armed with powerful phaser banks, 6 torpedo launchers, and then a single main photon torpedo launcher. This thing literally has the capability to destroy whole entire planets. It has deflector shields, and at one point in the series, in episode 2 of the 3rd season, the Enterprise incident, the crew of the Enterprise actually managed to steal a cloaking device, a technology that was unique only really to the Romulans, an enemy of the Federation. They outsmart the Romulans, steal their cloaking device, and install it into the Enterprise, and actually go into a cloak mode. However, like many of the technological advances in the original series, they're kind of instantly found a way to nerf that at the end of the episode. It's later explained in, a different series of Star Trek that I've yet seen, that apparently they have a treaty with the Romulans to totally exclude the use of cloaking technology in general. The engines used on the Enterprise consist of an impulse drive and a warp drive, which are powered by a matter-antimatter reaction. The speed at which the Enterprise goes is measured in the warp factor system. Warp factor starts out at warp 1. This is already an FTL, or faster than light speed basically, and it can go up all the way to warp 8. Warp 6 is kind of the standard cruising speed for the Enterprise. This is the one that they normally travel at if they need to get somewhere in a hurry. The fastest rate that they could go without, implying any risk upon the Enterprise is Warp 8. They've also gone Warp 9, but that, of course, involves a lot of risk towards the Enterprise. The Enterprise has only gone, super speed twice in the original series. In Episode 2, Season 2, By Any Other Name, it was able to surpass safe warp speeds with the help of alien technology, the Kelvins, and even got to warp 14.1 in Season 3, Episode 17, That Which Survives. Now, that's pretty insane. 14.1 is actually totally unheard of, to the point where they kind of retcon this. In later series of Star Trek, after the 24th century occurs, they kind of proportionalize the whole warp factor system. So if you get anything above warp 10, that is basically infinite velocity. And I think me trying to understand what that means is basically like teleportation. The Enterprise is also equipped with a multitude of sensors that are said to be able to monitor literally anything and everything that's known to the Federation's understanding of the physical laws of nature and science. However, you'll find that if you actually watch this series, a lot of these sensor gadgets just become instantly useless at any sign of supernatural ability by an enemy alien species. Now, there are a lot of different versions of the Enterprise, actually. The Enterprise ships that are used in Next Generations, as well as the Enterprise series, are totally different ships under the same name. There's even alternate universe adaptations like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, which is based off the alternate Kelvin timeline that I really don't understand anything about, so we'll wait till I get to that, I guess. And that's totally outside, I think, the traditional main continuity. Don't ask me, I really don't understand how any of that stuff works. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much everything with the Enterprise. Now, I'd really like to cover Tricorders next. There are two different types of Tricorders seen in the original series. You got your main tricorder, and then you also have Dr. McCoy's signature medical tricorder. Tricorders are basically these overpowered devices that can just measure anything. They are supercomputers. There's seemingly nothing that they can't measure. But like I've said before, similar to the sensors aboard the Enterprise, these things become almost totally useless in the face of a superior alien entity. Another technology used in the original series, of course, is phaser technology. The Starship Enterprise is equipped with phaser technology for space battle. There are a few different types of phasers that show up in the original series. For example, you got your hand phasers, which are almost look like Apple remotes for Apple TV. You have your Phase 2 phasers, which are the pistol ones by my understanding, and then you also have phaser rifles. It's funny, the phaser rifle, I'm pretty sure, unless it's shown up in the last 4 episodes that I haven't seen yet, has only been shown once in the entirety of the series, in one of the first maybe 10 episodes, and it's never been seen before. It was a really cool design, but you could probably understand the redundancy of a phaser rifle when compared to you have a phaser pistol. Phasers are common directed energy weapons, are particle weapons that fire nadion particle beams, and they can totally obliterate a lot of stuff. Common objects found on Earth, they would be able to totally dematerialize them and just absolutely destroy them. But you'll find that, again, in Star Trek, the crew is put in a lot of different situations where they're just against impossible odds, so phasers are usually taken away from them or rendered useless within the first 5 minutes of a story arc being introduced.
Point right at me. My reactions are much too fast for such a crude weapon.
Lastly, I would like to cover the transporters. Beaming technology in Star Trek, basically the transporter is a machine that converts a person or object into an energy pattern, and then they beam it to a target location where it's reconverted into matter, it's rematerialized. Again, a few story arcs center around the transporter just totally not working, and then the transporter also causes a lot of problems for the crew members of the Enterprise.
Beam me aboard.
Energize.
Energizing. Bridge, it's shorted out again.
August surrounded.
Gentlemen, Beam me aboard.
We can't, Captain. Transporter is out again.
Mr. Scott, 20 seconds to detonation.
Originally, Gene Roddenberry didn't even want transporters or teleportation devices used. He was actually more leaning towards the idea of physically landing the ship on the planets. Of course, this was just totally out the window because of the costs, the time that it would take for them to like build a set and have the Enterprise appear to be landing down on a planet. So then they introduced like the shuttlecrafts, but that still wasn't good enough. That would have cost way too much money to do like every other episode or every single episode. So they just came up with the simple idea of transporter technology. It's also important to note that they don't have the technology in the original series to manipulate and transmutate matter. That's something that's done in the later series of Star Trek. This is kind of confirmed in Season 1, Episode 17, The Squire of Gothos, where the enemy that they're facing in that episode has the power to transmutate matter, and they're totally ignorant to how he does that. But anyways, guys, this has just been a quick video of me overviewing some technology, providing a little bit of lore. Hopefully, if you're a casual Star Trek watcher, or if you're just getting into the series, this helps you understand a little bit more of how these things operate. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.
Thank you.